Mais qu'est-ce que tu fais? Okay, whew. Wow. Wow. Can I put the blame on Scout? Can I? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh man. I'm super embarrassed now. It's silly. Hey. Okay, hold on. Okay, cool. Oh man. So, hi everyone. Hi Amisha, hi Jill, hi Lise, hi Lee. Yeah, the thing is after the lunch period, Scout usually likes to nap, but she will only nap if I go set her up for a nap. Like if I go with her and I pet her, and I'm like, and that's what I did, and then I fell asleep. And the worst thing is that I told myself that, oh, I really should be careful not to fall asleep because I have my live stream later, and I did exactly that. I fell asleep. Hi, on horseback. Let's hope that having Peko as a live cat cam today is gonna make things better. Oh. This is so silly. Oh. Hey, my tea is still warm. I made it like before. And it's still warm. Wow. Pretty cool. Okay. She can sleep on you and everyone can feel you're safe. Yeah, I think it was a nice nap. I really didn't see it happen at all. Like I sat down next to Scout and I was petting her, and then I was like, whoa, what? And I looked at the clock and it's much later than I thought it would be, and I was like, oh no. Hey Patricia. Hey, I got your email, Patricia. Thank you so much. Hi, Beth. Yeah, everyone is sleepy in here today. Like, you can see Peko is fast asleep. Scout is sleeping in the bedroom. And I fell asleep too, so... Yay! Okay, I've been really unlucky this week in a way. Like, I keep hurting my fingers. Like, I have my thumb that's always problematic because of the cold and the way it cracks just under the nail here. And there's always, like, something going on there. Then I don't know why, I was cleaning a mirror that I thought was not actual glass. And turns out it was glass. And at some point, it slipped and cut my finger. And then I have no idea how I did that. And it's not really that much of a problem. The thing is that it's on a joint. So every time I use my fingers, I either like reopen or scratch it. So I'm like, okay, when am I gonna hurt this one and then this one? Like, I'm ready. I expect it. Okay, I wanted to yeah, show quickly how I've been repackaging my paints. I'm testing something different because I hope that it will allow me to save a bit of time in the way that I do these packages. Thing is that they tend to become unglued, but yeah, that's really minor to fix. Let's take one with actual pigment information on it. Here, let's okay. So what I'm trying to do is I really don't want to stick, but yeah, I'm trying to find ways that will allow me to save time. So I was trying to see if there was a way I could print out the tabs and like paint them all at once and have some sort of adhesive on them all at once, and then I cut them and they're good to go. So I don't have to separately write every single one of them and paint every single one of them and wait for them to dry, which is, I mean, I don't mind doing it, but it's not time effective. So yeah, and I decided to just wrap them in this parchment paper because nothing sticks to it really, and you can kind of see through like the pigment here. I also made tags of all the color name and the color pigment that I can cut and put direct on the pans, which are much more legible than my handwriting actually, and they kind of also save me time, and I can easily label the pans that I got drying. I don't use oxgall, but I use honey, and that maybe has a smell bit. Oh, sorry. Whew. I have a bunch of paints that are drying, but I think they're dry enough that I can show it. Like I can easily put the stickers on. Thing is as long as you don't try to remove the sticker, they will stay there fine. So yeah, basically I was trying to find ways to use what I have here to make the process kind of easier. I still need to find a way I can organize. Like everything is in a separate Ziploc bag, that's fine, but like I have this box here, and I have another box there, and I have 2 boxes over there, and I have like all my paint making wrapping stuff doesn't have a single place to go. So if I can find a bin that's big enough, that could be, fun to have everything there. But I think that the pan that was Spanish gold ochre, it's one of my favorite actually. Hold on, let me. Yeah. Oh my god, I might have to find a better adhesive. Though actually people are not gonna keep the adhesive on, so I guess I can just reglue them easily. Like it doesn't want to stick. It's supposed to be super strong, but apparently it's like super strong. Haha. It's just bothering me that it's all. Yeah, see it. Doesn't even want to stay on the paper. What? Okay. Hold on. Let's redo this. There you go. Hey, SG Leinert, hi! A doctor! Okay, hold on. The orange color. I'm gonna just put them out. The colors that I have coming... meaning the colors that are drying right now. Yep. Ah, there it is. That's about it. In my paints, I basically use pigment, distilled water, the gum arabic solution that I get from Kama, and honey. Sometimes I will use rubbing alcohol, because some pigments, they are easier to wet when you put a bit of alcohol in the water when you mix them. But I don't use oxgall, and I don't use glycerin either. Okay. So yeah, the pans I showed that were not really full yet, those are Spanish Gold Ochre. I have some Mars Orange as well, Mars Violet. I really like these two. I have some, let's put this one here. I have some Pipestone, pink Pipestone, Catlinite, which is a bit of a weird pigment to work, but it makes for this nice soft pink color. I have some Mayan Green, which is the first time I'm mulling as well, and some Volkonskoit, which is a really problematic pigment to mull. I really don't encourage it for any paint maker, but I was able to make it into this light green color. That's not the, like, these three, mind you, don't have the strongest tinting strength, but they're still quite fun. And I'm really trying to see how they dry. Hopefully have some nice pans that are not all cracked. Yeah, I love these the Mars colors. These like these labels are printed on cellulose paper, which was really weird for me to use because I haven't used it in quite some time. And when I was trying to paint this, the you know, the long swatch, like it's like the paper repels the paint a bit. A really pickle. Okay. Duly noted. So yeah, I had to like come back and paint over it a couple of times, but it really, like, you paint and it's like the paint recedes back, and I was like, no, you're supposed to I'm supposed to be able to paint a brush stroke and the paint stays on my brush stroke. So that was kind of weird. I don't know if I'll have to if I stick with this way of doing things, if I'll have to find a way to print on the B paper, possibly like the thinnest one, the 90-pound cotton paper, just because it's really weird to try to paint on cellulose. And that was like the thinnest cellulose. I gave away most of my cellulose paper, but I kept like 2 pads, especially for painting like swatches and thing related to paint making, but it was not a super fun experience, so I don't know what I'll do with that. Yeah, some colors really came out better than I expected, like the Pipestone. Like Spanish Gold Ochre and the Mars color, they're not new to me. I've done these colors before, so I kind of knew what to expect, but the other 3 colors are all new. And I was really stressed out when I did the Pipestone one first, because I thought it was not gonna be possible for me to make it into a paint. And I had the same issue with the Volkonskoit as well, whereas I keep my paints in jars. Let me grab one up. Like airtight little jars like that, so that I can refill the pans many times, because the paint will shrink a bit, so I can do it a bit like Schminke does and do many pours, which is why it takes forever. But yeah, so I had my sample pan of Volkonskoit, and I was not happy with it. I was like, oh, this first of all, this pigment is really hard to mull, and then it's really I can't seem to make it into a strong color. So it spent months in a jar. And I was like, oh, what am I gonna do with this? What can I do with this? And I had some sort of a random idea at some point. I was like, well, I'm gonna try and add in this. I added like kind of a filler. It's basically just clay, but it's not chalky. It's kind of really weird. It's something you can buy to make gouache, but it doesn't necessarily make a color chalky. It's basically just some kind of weird clay that adds body to the thing. And I thought, well, if the pigment is giving me so much problem, and my options are either to make it into pans that I sell, like, like I might as well experiment with this. This was my point. So that's what I did. I mold just the clay itself, made it into a paste with like a bit like I would watercolor, but it was just the I want to say extender, but people have really bad opinion of additives into paint. Like, it's not an additive. It's not. I didn't add it in to extend the pigment. I added in to help fix the problems I had with the pigment. And I added in my jar, mixed it well, and I poured another test pan, and it dried a lot better. So I was like, oh, there's perhaps something to do with it. And it also, like, you can re-wet it fine, and it makes for this light green color. So I don't know exactly what I'll do with these pans. I wonder if I'll be happy enough with it that I can keep it in the regular watercolor category, or if I will put it in prototypes and sell them like at a discount. If people want to play with the paint that's possibly not, perfect. Could you print on hot press? I probably could. I don't have any hot press. But yeah, I've never had problems printing on 90-pound cold press. Fits into my my printer without any issues. My ink is not waterproof, so sometimes the wrappers have a bit of a bleed where I put the swatch, but it's not like people are gonna frame the wrappers. At best, they're gonna keep them on their swatch sheet, and otherwise it's gonna end up in the trash, so. Hey, Nancy! Hi Stephen! When will they be ready to sell? They are curing right now. I have about 4 pans of each color right now, just because I like to do it in batches so that I can fill pans, wait until they're full and dry, and then what I have left I can make new pans. I just don't want to end up with like a bunch of pans that are half filled because that's not very practical. But it might take me a month to get these to cure perfectly, like to be fully dry. Maybe a bit less. But yeah, I will have probably a first batch of 4 pans of each color, and then I might have a couple of few pans more sometime later, so I don't know. It's been a while since I made pans, so I've had some time to think about things and how I want to process and do it. So hopefully these will turn out fine. Was my point. Sorry. So yeah, I wanna make more paints because I enjoyed the process, but it's not something that you can do super quickly if you want to sell the extra. Like, if I was just doing the paint for me, I could put, a blob in a palette somewhere, let it dry and call it a day. But since I wanna share the extra pans, and if I was super rich, I would give them away, no problem. But I'm not, so the only way I can make this work is by selling the extra pans I have. So I want them to be nice and good and be happy with them. And it's already kind of stressful because I have some of my own pans in my palette that I have since the first time I made paint, you know. And through time, they've been affected. Like, I can test the paint after a month, but it's not going to behave the same way if I retest the same paint after a year. Some paints have formed sort of a really hard crust, if I can say that, on top. Like, there was a layer of really solid gum arabic that made it difficult to pick up pigment, and one had to, say, put some water over the pan, let it soften, and scrape the top off a bit to get to the layer underneath that is less dried up gum arabic. So I'm learning things, but it's really stressful in a way, because you want to share those paints that you're excited to use, but I have no idea how they're gonna be in a year, and I'm like, I don't want to end up with people who are like unhappy with this stuff. I mean, anyone can always write to me, and I will talk with them, and we can discuss options. But it's stressful. It is stressful. Hey, Adam, hi. Oh, thank you so much, Nancy. We are quite lucky in our little community that we have many like talented paint makers. Otto's paints are really nice. Dan makes paint as well. I know that there's I don't think she's in the streams that much, but Kana makes paints. Eliza. The Sella Paint Co paints are really, really lovely. Like, there's many of us who can work different pigments and all of that. And sometimes I'm asking myself, should I try to come up with like recipes of, you know, a bit like what Ame does, like mixes that would possibly be more personal to me, because we can all sort of make the same paint from the same pigment. Like, all us paint makers can offer the same thing. But yeah, Lee says, yeah, but I guess that's needed, the long-term tests, and only possible as people become more experienced. Can't have those tests if you've only made paints for 3 months. Yeah, I know. But it's like, it's stressful to me, because whatever my work ethics or whatnot, like, if I could wait a long time, like, I have many pans that are from when I did paints in the beginning, like, and they are half filled and they have issues, and I still have them. They're collecting dust somewhere, and I don't want to sell them because I don't know what to expect from them. But yeah, so that's kind of the bit that's stressful. But so far I've been lucky too. No one has written back with an angry email, and people are nice in our community. So if anything, they write back with nice emails, not angry ones. Okay, sorry, I'm kind of, it's a super duper slow start today because, yeah, I sort of fell asleep and didn't plan to, so I'm like, what, where, who, how, things. I wanted to show the paint, so that's done. The new packaging that becomes unglued anyway. Yeah, I think you're right. Lee says, I understand, but also know that most of those of us who buy handmade know this deal. That's what I sort of figure out, because I mean, I've bought handmade paints that I'm happy I got, but that have some issues, and I haven't seen a lot of people complain about those issues. So I think most of us have this in mind, that it's handmade, so it might not be exactly like a studio paint, so I'm good with that. I wanted to show this fun palette that I saw and I really had to try because I was very curious about it. It's a sort of palette that I guess you're supposed to hold with your thumb. I never used those, but I don't know if it shows. It has a space with slanted wells for paint, but right on big palette with a mixing area. It doesn't have a lid, it doesn't have any kind of storage options, unless I find a way to keep this plastic bag or reuse it. But I thought that was super interesting because it's kind of a nice setup. I thought, like, it's not a folding palette, but it's kind of the same idea. It was like really not super pricey, so really curious about that. Alright. Did you guys buy something special for not for, but with the Black Friday deals? Oh, sorry, I'm yawning a lot. I had to shock my brain awake. So I'm like, wah! Right. Ouais. Ok. Ouais. Tu as commentaire à faire? Oui. Oh wow, you guys did good. Patricia says, no, I managed to avoid the urge to splurge. Oh, that's nice. I like that, the urge to splurge. On horseback, nope, was wise for once and didn't buy anything at all. Jill says, I bought a set of Polychromos pencil I've had my eye on for a few years now. Oh, that's good. That's what I like of these, well, I don't, there are always some issues with big sale events like that, but the thing that I find nice about them is that if you've been interested in a thing for a long time and you see it on sale, well, it's a good time, like it's a sale that you can expect and you can check if the thing you want is on sale then. Like you can sort of plan for it. And if the thing is not on sale, well, you can keep the saved up money to see if it's going to be on sale after Christmas or, you know, something like that. Lee says, I was close, though. Oh, they bought a few digital books. I went to both Jackson's and Penn Store and was all twitchy, but made it without buying. Yeah, like every time, like same for the Amazon Prime Day, like Black Friday. For us people that don't really like to go outside, I wouldn't go shopping physically on Black Friday. No way. But shopping online is easier. You don't have to deal with people directly. But yeah, the first time it sort of like crossed my awareness to be like, oh, I'm gonna see what Amazon has on sale. It's always the same thing when I check what Amazon has on sale. It's always stuff that I'm like, well, it's like whatever. Like you look at the list and it's gonna be I don't know, like but sort of bootleg smartwatch. Then you have a pair of slippers. Then you have you know, a bunch of random stuff, like some small appliance. Then you have other weird stuff, and I'm like, there's no sense, there's no, like, I much prefer to wait until I'm swamped in emails and look at all the Black Friday emails, and if there is one from a small local company that I know and they have some sale event at the same time, like, I would rather buy from them. At least I know I like what they sell. Like, Amazon just sells whatever. You're gonna have like a discount on diapers, and I'm like, there's no rhyme or reason to any of this. It's just like a big pile of sale things and not much. Adam says, I've already done PY 150, PB 36, PR 233, PR 101, PY 3, and PB 73. Making paints is a little headache, but I like it. That describes it well. Oh my gosh, Holly. I didn't know that happened. I'm so sorry. Holly says that she splurged at Jackson's for schminke that she lost in her house fire. Oh, good grief. SG Lanyard says, I got some brushes at Jackson's for almost half price. Love that Amazon offered me a bottle of castor oil. Great, bruh. Is that sarcastic? Hey, Mallory, hi. Like, I swear, the stuff that Amazon has on sale is so nonsensical. Like, I can't. I don't. Even when I... First of all, their sort of arts and crafts section is buried so deep within the subsections that... Like, it's in home and kitchen or something. For Canadian Amazon, I mean. And I'm like, alright, I already feel sort of belittled. So I'm like, thanks for putting arts and crafts in home and kitchen. And then like it's gonna be like sometimes you can catch a deal on the Prismacolor Premiere sets, but yes, it's just like kind of not the place I go to for art supplies. I would much prefer wait for Jackson's Black Friday sale. And I mean, Jackson's is kind of big, but I think it's still like a small company. I don't think they count as a big corporation. Lol, I thought the home and kitchen thing was a glitch on my computer. No, it's not. That's the worst part. Arts and craft in the home and kitchen. Hey, Galena. Hi. I'm thinking. Hey, Charlie. Hi. Trying to figure out what to draw today. I started my second tiny fill note notebook. I finished the first one. Let me grab it. I haven't... I mean to store these in a box when I'm done, but it's kind of fun to change sketchbook often. Like, you can customize it, I number them. They're made so that you can write in them the start date and the completion date. And yeah, and then I sketched a bunch of stuff in there. You can try pencils, and it's fine. It's not a very big format, but it's kind of fun. And the paper is nice for sketching, and I don't mind using like dot, square, or line for sketching. Like, it's not really bothersome. Oh, that's good, Amisha. You're better off without an Amazon account, I think. A hippo with a crown. That's kind of like what I drew with Jazz. A tree. Oh, cats decorating a tree would be really cute. They could be putting like fish in it. Oh, I'm so sorry about that, Charlie. College can be really stressful. Oh, okay, Patricia. See ya later. Let's... Do you guys get Christmas trees? Do you get real ones, or do you get the synthetic tree? Speaking of shopping, I scored a Kodak mini printer for $50. Ooh, that's nice. I had this special edition of the 2018 Christmas tin. Only professional paints, not students, so it was a mashup. Wish I could find... Is that the rainbow... Hold on. Is it this one? What's in this one? Pro paints. Pro paints. You get a real one, real tree. Synthetic synthetic, a bit of everything. Oh, Holly, hit me up. I have a spare. Fires suck. They're one of the things that terrifies me the most in life, and I can really understand the sort of sad feeling of loss that comes with it because it's out of your control. So, hold on, let me find it just to be sure. I know I have a second one somewhere, so I'm pretty sure we can come to an agreement and get this one to you. That's the one from last year. Hold on, I know it's somewhere. I'm gonna dive under my desk for a second. Oh, I'm too old for this. Oh, good grief. So look, this one is empty. This one has paints. This is something I'm searching for. Whew. Alright, I'm not moving anymore. I did my exercise for the day. Half the lights are real candles too. Oh wow, how do you manage that? How does it not become a hazard? What's in this one? Oh, those are the Academy paints. I'll put this back now that I know where it is. Okay. Arnhouseback says, we've had a fake one for 22 years. My parents bought and sell right after Christmas. It's a good tree. We also have a tree hanging from the ceiling. What? Wow, that sounds really special. Hey, Mikey. Oh man, a huge Thanksgiving feast. That sounds great. You missed the start of the live stream, Mikey, but I started late because I fell asleep with Scout. I was setting Scout up for her afternoon nap because she needs to be put to bed, you know, because she's a big baby, and then I fell asleep with her. Oh man. Okay, silly question, guys. You know, like how LEDs, the Christmas lights that are made with LEDs, LEDs, have become like the big trend. And I think, well, first of all, I don't know what it's worth from an ecological standpoint, because I don't think we've really tried like the impact of these lights over like a decade and all of that, because once they're dead, I don't think you can just switch out the bulb and it's gonna work again. You have to toss the whole thing. Yeah, Holly, if you check out my about page, like the about section on YouTube, you can see my email and you can just write me there and we'll figure something out. It's a small hazard to be sure, but with no small children and no pets, or very calm pets, good holders, and being careful how the candles are placed, and a fire extinguisher near, we manage. Yeah, I guess that's not a thing that you let lit up when you when you go out. Like you shut down the candles. It is American Thanksgiving this weekend. Canadian Thanksgiving was back in October. Sometimes you can replace the bulb. Yeah, that's the thing though. I think the LEDs are a good idea, possibly, if they turn out to be a better option from an ecological point of view. The thing is, they don't glow. Like, I miss the old problematic string lights because they were tiny bulbs, light bulbs, and they would become hot, they would become... Oh yeah, that's right, you're in Patreon and Discord. Awesome. Hit me up. But yeah, the thing is that like, they became a bit warm, but the colors were much I want to say warm, but not, I don't mean in the actual point of like emitting warmth. I just want, it felt more cozy. Like the colors to me and the way the light was produced with the old string light felt a lot more cozy and inviting. While today I find that the LED lights, first of all, they have way too many blue bulbs in there. Like the blue light, because it's often a really repeating, like you have a red, a green, a yellow, a blue, a red, a green, you know, it's always the same order. Whereas the old string light, you could switch things around to make it a bit more random. And this bloody blue light, that was not in the old string lights. It was rare to have blue light bulbs for the old lights. It was mostly, from what I remember, white. You had some red, yellow, green, some pink sometime. Occasionally you could find purple and turquoise bulbs, but that was like super rare. And yeah, and I don't like the new lights because they light up, but they don't produce light. It's really weird. Like, say you were to take the old string lights, you could plug them in and they would provide a lot more light. Like, you could read next to them and see something. The new lights, you plug them in and they lit up, but they don't, like, they don't spread out light. And I have the same issue with my lights on the streets. They replaced all the lights on the street with, I think, LED lamps. And you don't see anything outside when you walk on the sidewalk. Like, it's super dark. Fine, the lights over there, like near the lamp itself, it's a bit lit up, but it doesn't get to the floor as much. So when you walk at night, you don't see where you're stepping. You could step in like dog poop all the way and you wouldn't know. So yeah, a long ramble, but it bothers me. Oh no! Why do you hate Thanksgiving? SG Liner. If you want me to call you something else, feel free to let me know. I'll try to remember it. Newest thing in Denmark is that you can go rent a tree in a pot and then bring it back to be replanted after Christmas. That's so cool! Oh, I would love that. That's the thing that bums me out too. Like on December 26th, no wait, on January 2nd when you see all the trees outside. And I'll always feel a bit heartbroken at that. Yeah, Mallory says, I don't like the fluorescent white lights. They tend to have a blue cast, so it's always a struggle to find white lights that are soft and yellow. I agree. That's what I tried to do. I have a couple of LED lights to put in my tree. But yeah, it kind of, you know, when you plug in the tree and it's in the corner of the living room and you don't have any other lights on, it doesn't light up the living room like old tree used to. So I've been on the lookout too for, like when I buy a white string of light now, I try to go for the yellow, warm yellow ones. But even then, they don't emit much light. They're using weak LEDs. Generally, LEDs are brighter than incandescent. Oh wow, they're really using weak LEDs. They saved up on the expense, I guess. Oh no. Hey, Abel, hi. Yeah, that bums me out. I think I would mind the lead strings less if they didn't have that much of a blue color in there. Like, yeah, like the light that they cast is already kind of blue. So the fact that they have like 1 out of 4 bulb be blue, it's like, I don't know, it feels cold and not inviting. And we don't need to feel cold in Quebec. It's fine. Like, it's already cold enough outside. I would rather have warm colors that are inviting me to come in and warm my feet, you know? Yeah, I think, Mikey, you said it best. I like the tree to be warm and inviting, not like a fluorescent city sign. There you go. I'm pretty sure I doodled cats. I don't remember what was my Christmas drawing last year with the cats. Or was it the year before? I know it had a sleigh. And I had featured a bunch of cats on there. Like from your cats. But yeah, I would have to check my scan of it. It's always kind of a mess to try and get the lights throughout the tree in a in a cute way. Like, there's always like a branch or 2 or 10 that are like, nope, not collaborating. And then you have to sort of put them over the tree, and or if you can walk around the tree, that's also fine. Time has flown, honestly. I was like, oh, we're almost in December. I feel like time has flown because I don't think I got much of anything I wanted to get done this year done. And I don't know if I should be depressed about that or just put it aside and focus on improving. But like, I didn't do anything I wanted to do. Why? When I first got the cats, when they were still young cats, instead of old mittens, I couldn't put out the Christmas tree because they would try to eat the synthetic branches. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's not good to eat all that plastic. So I couldn't put out my small tree, and I was a bit bummed out. I think last year was the first time, or maybe the year before, it was the first time I really made an effort and tried it, and turns out that they don't really want to eat it anymore. So I was like, good. Also, there's a thing that bums me out about my synthetic tree is that it stinks of plastic. And when I was a kid, we used to have like a real tree because that was more of a family thing to decorate. But now it's just, we have a small apartment. It's just the 2 of us. The kids are cats and they don't really mind about the Christmas spirit. December is tomorrow. This melts my brain. I agree. Does the same to mine, to be honest. Like, what? How come? Oh, that would be a good drawing for today, meaning that usually, like, I have a sort of rule in my head that you decorating for Christmas starts on December 1st. If it's not December, to me, it's not time for me to decorate for Christmas. Fake trees are work, yeah. Fluffing off the branches, and they shed their fake needle, that's true. Mine still reeks of plastic. And I always hurt my hands on it. I really need to put gloves on if I do it this year, but last year I just storing it for the whole year, like when Christmas was done and all of that, like I put it back into its box and my hands were really messed up after. So I don't know if I have like a reaction to the something in the fabrication, the plastic, or if it's just the fact that it's It's kind of rough. It would be like the roughness of, you know, a dry loofah. So when you sort of have to rub your hands on it, and it's a bit maybe more grating than a loofah. Anyway, not great. I've had a good year. Oh, that's really nice, Lise. Great. Oh yeah, the Christmas music. Blech. Anyone else ready for October 1st tomorrow too? On the bright side, this gets us closer to solstice and the return of daylight. That's a good point, Jill. Yeah, I agree. Charlie says, honestly, how quick time is going by is terrifying me. I used to love holidays like Christmas, but now all I think of is how it's another year past. Still love all holidays though, it's just a tad scary. Yeah, it goes by so fast. Like, you feel like you're never ready for it. Boop, paper. Oh, that's okay. Can't wait for more sunlight. I don't know, I don't go out much. Like, maybe I would feel differently if I went outside and profited from the sunlight, but I'm like, sun. And with the snow, it's so bright, it's like a great recipe for a migraine. Hey, lab accident, hi! Did you guys happen to trade paints, to trade like supplies via the Discord? I'm just curious. Because if so, that makes me very happy. Maybe I should try and get a couple of more dot cards put together of different paints to have a like a Christmas giveaway or something. You guys know I am not I am fine paint-wise, like I am fine for about 7 lifetimes. And I'm always happy when I can share some of it with fellow artists. That's like my favorite part of all of this, is being able to share like I'm not precious about certain things, and I really have a lot of fun when I can share stuff up with other people and we can all like be excited about the same stuff and talk about it and be happy, and just like, instead of being alone in my corner being like being like Gollum, my precious. I have a couple of precious, so I will not lie, but otherwise I really I really take pleasure from being able to share and seeing someone enjoy something as much as I do. Oh, you did it through Discord. I'm so glad. Well, Mallory, you can always ask him if that's something that would interest him. The Discord, if you guys don't really know what we're talking about, it's a chatting platform You can join up for free, and that's where we sort of keep talking and keep discussions going during the week between live streams. And it's been pretty great for many things. Like we talk about art. There's also like a channel about the yarn and all the crafts of knitting, crochet, all of that. We have Spoonie's place, like if you want to vent, share, talk, discuss about your chronic issues and that kind of stuff, it's okay there too. We talk about paint, we talk about art, we talk about all sorts of things, and it's a lot of fun, and people can share their, well, not even theirs, but you can share pictures of your pets, other pets, cats you meet outside, like anything. It's a really fun place. I'm really glad. I'm so glad you guys like embarked on this with me, and we can make it something fun out of it. Oh, that's awesome, Lisa and Mikey. I'm loving it. Misha says, my ambitions have grown and I'm at that stage where I feel my skills aren't up to the test. Though that's kind of the way growth as an artist goes. It's not a straight up curve. I need a blank. Well, that's not blank, but that will do. Like, you know, like the progression of your skill is not like that as an artist. It's gonna be like you have a really steep moment where you get better, and then you will hit sort of a plateau, and then it will like always do kind of like a stairway, and there's always a moment where you feel, especially in the plateaus, where you feel like you want to be able to do certain thing and it's just not happening. And usually it's this kind of cumulative frustration that will trigger a new growth, because you're like, I want to learn how to do whatever. So you will do a lot of studies, do a lot of sketching, do a lot of research, and usually like, boom, have a growth there. And then it plateaued again. Like you try and you put all you've learned into application, but it doesn't really make you grow on the moment. And then it's always like that. So I'm rambling so much. Jill says, artist problem, I want to pour paints for a new palette that I'm starting, but I glued the good magnets onto the bottom of the pans. Oh yeah, that's an artist problem indeed. I can relate. I technically have stuff to make tiny Altoid stint sets. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, this card is pretty cool. Hi, Trudy. And that's the thing, like, even if you are super unfamiliar with it and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing, are they gonna yell at me because I don't know what I'm doing? That's definitely not how we do things. Like, and if you have any questions, just ask us. This card is pretty straightforward, but there's a couple of things that like are not as instinctive as we think. Like, for example, you can edit your messages over there. Like, if you have a typo in there, or if you said the wrong word, well, you can edit the message, which is not something that many platforms offer. So, but yeah, so you have a question, you ask, and no problem. It's really fun, and it's free, and it's easy to use. So, yeah, I like it. There is a link in the description. Hey, Joy, hi. Yeah, like we trade paints over there. It can be dot cards. It can be, because sometimes postage can be a pain in the butt. Oh my gosh, I went to the post office yesterday to check my PO box. And I was a bit bummed out because there was a parcel that I sent out with the with stuff related to the comic, like not stuff related to the channel and paint, but I mailed out something and I thought it was lost because the person had not received it, and we were like, what is going on? And it came back to me, and with the with the mention that the address was incomplete, and I was like, huh? So I have yet to follow up on that, but the 2 times that something was sent back to me, it, I don't know for this time, but it was because they gave me their address wrong. And I'm always a bit let down when that happened, because I'm like, well, I have to pay again for shipping out of pocket. So, moral of this story, if you order stuff up, make sure you enter the proper address. It saves everyone a headache. I'm fine. That's part of the, part of what it is. But it's always like, I'm always like, oh no, it got lost, or did I do something wrong? And one time the person, like, I sent it. It was to Canada at least. It was not like overseas or in the US, so it was a bit more affordable. But I sent it like with tracking because it was something that was important and all of that. And the person did not give me their address properly. And since it was sent like in express and with shipping and all of that, when they return it, you have to pay for the express return because they return it express as well. And they don't tell you. It's just when you go pick it up at the post office, they're like, well, you have to pay us the same thing you paid to send it out again. And I was like, or the time that like landlord sort of lost the rent check, and I had to call the bank to cancel my check, and they were like, oh, it's gonna be $13 to cancel the check. And I was like, but it's not me who lost it. My money. So yeah, that's it. That's my ramble for this. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I'm so excited for the pans, the half pan and the full pan wells. At least that's so exciting. We charge extra for their mistake. Yeah, I mean, I feel a bit awkward asking for it, but like if they offer to pay for reshipping, I'm not gonna say no. I'm gonna say yes. That's very nice. Thank you very much. But yeah, usually people don't really offer, and I'm like, ugh. We'll see. Perhaps, like, they have yet, this current one, they have yet to get back to me regarding the address, so I can compare with what I have on my envelope that I got from the ordering form. Like, they put an order through our online shop for the comic stuff, and I was like, okay. And I literally copy paste the address and print it, so it's not like I rewrite it by hand. So I'm curious to see if there's indeed something missing in the address, or if it's just their local post office that was feeling lazy that day, because that happens too. Happens to me one time. I ordered something. Thankfully it was small. It was like envelope size, so not very pricey. But the person wrote because they said, hey, it was sent back to me because apparently the address was not right. And I looked at the address the person had entered, and I was like, well, that's my address. I don't have any other one. So I don't know what happened, but they didn't try. That's a good gift idea, lab accident. If you have artists in your family or art inclined people, I have so many tubes of paints and spare half pans I could literally just make paint sets for most of my family. That's a fun gift. Jill says, I always try to pay for extra shipping when it's my mistake as a customer. I gave the wrong house number to a friend when she was coming to pick her kid up at my house, so she ended up next door. Oh no! Oh, at least next door, that's not too far off, But yeah. That's a funny thing that I noticed too, is that you can easily tell who is used to ordering stuff and who isn't. Especially, I don't see it as much when I do like art sales or like paint sales and all that, but I see it with the comic book stuff that we sell. How, you know, sometimes people will like something that I have to ship to the States or overseas, and it's like it's like 1 week after I shipped it, and they write me an email and like, oh, it's been a week, it's not here yet. Do you have tracking? Is there a way I can know where it's at? And I'm always like, dude, chill. It could take up to 2 weeks for the US, possibly. It can take up to 8 weeks for the overseas packages, depending on where they go. Sometimes stuff gets there super fast. For some reason, everything I send to Otto gets there like within a week, and I'm like, what? That's like, you know, kind of far. And she always gets it super fast, and I'm like, what? This is awesome, but and sometimes stuff takes about 3 weeks to get someplace, so. Oh, that's so cool. Yes. Mallory says that she did the custom paint sets last year because she was broke. People love them. I made a tin of 6 for my stepsister with a little round tin I found from Britain. That's really cool. That the fact that if someone has access to, say, like vintage tins or, you know, like fun stuff, and the fact that you made it yourself, that's always really cool, and it's always, you know, very unique. So I think that means a lot to people who are able to recognize and understand that kind of work. Are you in Australia, Mallory? I thought you were in Canada. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, sometimes people are like, why don't you offer tracking? I'm like, well, because if I offer tracking, you're gonna end up paying $30 for it. I'm not gonna cover the price of your tracking. I'm sorry, but like, there's already such a slim margin on whatever we send out in terms of profit. The tracking is like exponentially expensive. I don't know what they do with it. Like, is it gold tracking? I don't know. But it's like shipping out regularly is like $20. It's kind of pricey too. But tracking is gonna be $50. Like, this is the same freaking parcel. All you do is scan it. What? I don't appreciate that. Sometimes I feel bad, like, not being able to get tracking, because I'm like, let's say when people would put in an order for a substantial amount of paint. I'm glad that handmade paints are kind of small and not very heavy, so that's the way that I can offer a good shipping price for those. But there's never tracking included, and I always feel kind of nervous about it, because I'm like, this is a substantial expense from the person, and I'm like, if this was to be lost, I would have to send a new one, like, and but then again, if it doesn't get lost, and if it makes it there properly, like, the price for sending it out is fairly decent. Charlie says, sorry, I know it's a sudden change of topic, but anyone got any advice for motivation? 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 I have projects / portfolios due, but zero motivation, even though I love doing it and I know it has to be done. I would say start with a very simple thing in the beginning. I don't know exactly what's the nature of your work, but start with like a very simple first task. Let's say you want to set up drawing and you're really not motivated and you're like on the couch and you don't want to get up. Well, first thing is going to be I'm going to get off the couch and I'm going to go sit at my desk. And then you're sitting at your desk and okay, I'm at my desk. What do I need? I'm going to go get my paper and my pencil. And then you sit back with your paper and pencil. Okay. I'm gonna draw just a stroke somewhere on my paper just to mark it. And you go like that step by step, because often the worst thing is getting started. That's the most difficult step. But if you really go at it gradually in small increment, you can get yourself like embarked in it, and once you're started, it's going to be much easier to get going. Mallory says, no, I am in Canada, but I sold my sketchbooks and sent them to Australia. What? It ended up costing me almost $45 to ship to Australia alone without tracking. I don't know how independent vendors do it. I had no idea either. No idea. Ah, Pico, you're being so cute. Mom, I'm sleeping. Let me sleep. I'm sleeping. Baby cat, you're a tiny baby cat. Oh my gosh. Lee suggests I have to make a deal with a friend to get together for a work date to get those things done sometimes. That's a good idea too. Jill says, if tracking is super important to me as a customer, I ask to pay the exact shipping costs because I know it's super expensive. Well, that's really, really awesome from you. We need more people like you. Yeah, Peko is a really sleepy donut. She's super tightly snuggled together. Hey, Robin, hi. Are you... Well... Valerie says, I offered free shipping too because it was my first ever order. I had got a quote from the post office for 20, but the weight ended up being 0.1 grams more and it cost $20 more. That sounds about right for Canada Post Canada. Oh my gosh, I know. Like, no matter what you do, even if you get the... Like, there was a parcel that I wanted to make sure didn't go over a certain weight limit, and I have a scale here that I bought for that. And it's super sensitive, like you cannot weigh heavy things with it. It's only like letters and small stuff. And I weighed it and I was like, okay, it's fine. And I got to the post office and they weigh it over there and it's not the same freaking weight. And I was like, how can I prepare for anything if I can't trust whatever I get here? I mean... Which is why I'm glad that half pans are really, even a full half pan is going to be light and small, so I can usually like keep my fees for shipping flat rate when it's handmade paints. And I can put quite a lot of pans in an envelope and it stays the same price because they're not heavy. But yeah, a sketchbook, that's heavier. That's more problematic to mail out. Yeah, that's awesome. Holly says, in the US, as long as no signed return receipt tracking... Hold on, let me start that over. In the US, as long as no signed return receipt tracking is really not expensive here, which is why we were sort of spoiled. Yeah. Mallory, I know that Eliza was mentioning chit chats. I think it's CHITCHATS. as a way to prepare postage, like paid postage, and you can print it yourself and just bring it to the post office. And from what he was telling us, it's more affordable than just going through Canada Post. Post Canada? I never know. I haven't checked it out yet, but I will definitely see what that's up. Whoa, that's awesome. Malvina says, we have tracking for most parcels for free. Wow. That's so cool. I mean, with the age of the internet, I really don't know why tracking is so expensive. Like, I can understand in the old-timey time when tracking was possibly done by hand or whatever. That must have been quite some time ago. If it was done by hand, like, it might be more expensive because someone has to sit and, write it. But now they just like, meep, scan something and it goes in a computer and ta-da! So I really don't know why they're like, oh, with tracking it's gonna be 200% the price. And you're like, but you know what? That makes the whole thing sort of moot, because what I'm sending out costs like $10 and it's gonna cost me $40 to ship it out. So, nah. Yeah, it's exponential. Like, it doesn't grow in a nice curve like that. It's like, not too bad, and then it hikes up super, super fast, and you're like, why? And then they're like, oh, but people are not using the post office a lot, and you're like, guess why? I'm really glad to know that, Malvina, because you sent me some sizable parcels. And I was like really, really nervous when I saw them, because I thought about it from my what I'm used to in terms of postal fee, and I was like, oh no, that must have cost so much money. And I was feeling really bad. So I'm glad to see that that Poland has stuff together better than we do, post-wise. That's pretty cool. On Horseback says, back in the 18th century, the person getting the letter would have to pay a fee. The price depended on how rough the way there was and if there was extreme weather. Well, here in the winter, everything would cost an arm and a leg, I guess. Okay, sorry. I do not get that about the post not being used. I'm like, hello, we shop online and get things sent a lot more than a decade ago. Yeah, that too. That was the main argument they used when they were like, oh, we don't want to have home delivery for mail. We're going to have like communal boxes and all of that. And I was like, because the post costs a lot to maintain and all of that. And I'm like, I can understand that it's an expensive operation because it's big. It's, countrywide. But at the same time, people use it a lot. Half of the Amazon deliveries are made by Canada Post. Like everything we order, most of the stuff that comes from overseas travels through regular mail. So it's, again, the post that takes care of it. And I'm like, how is this not... how is this not working? People order so many things from outside Canada and even within Canada, so I don't get it. Like, oh, it's so expensive, we're gonna have to find ways to save money, and I'm like, what? Hey, Lena, hi. Oh, that's awesome. Have fun with your son, Mikey. Have a great weekend. Yeah, Lana, how was the Christmas market? I'm so envious of it. I think they've tried to have one in Montreal the last couple of years, but it sort of doesn't have any charm. It's just like a bunch of. I mean, the stalls are cute. They're like, they're like wooden cabins that people set up to sell their wares, but it's not. I'm trying to. This is the same thing I have issue with everything that happens here. It doesn't have any charm to it, really. It feels more like. It kind of feels like a bootleg copy of something that is done better in other places. Even when we tried, I don't know if you guys heard about that, but I thought it was hilarious. A couple of years ago, not last Christmas, but I think the one before that, they decided to have this humongous tree. Like, they wanted a really, really big tree set up in a public space downtown Montreal, whatnot. And they got the biggest tree they could find, but it was not, a pretty tree. It was not like a nice Christmas tree, but scaled up until it's big. It was a big, tall, scrawny tree that they found somewhere because it was tall, and they cut it and they brought it here, and it became kind of a meme because we had this ugly Christmas tree. It kind of hurts my heart a bit to call it ugly, but it was really fun in terms of it being a meme. Because I was like, dude, it's just a tree. We wanted to stay a tree in the forest, and we came about and we're like, oh, we need this big tree. Let's cut it down and bring it like downtown, and it's gonna die. And I was like, yeah, that's lovely. But yeah, so we kind of try to do stuff, but it always turns out to be like crappy in a way. So like we try to have a Christmas market, but it's sort of set up in the close-up. I think the year I went, it was in a big street downtown that they closed up for pedestrians. And I mean, if they made it in the old city, because old Montreal has a bit more charm to it. It's the older building. It feels a bit more. I don't know. I kind of associate Christmas markets with European places. So if you go to the old Montreal, it has a bit more of this feeling. So if they made it there, I would think it would be nice, but they do not. It was like some random place downtown near shopping malls. And I was like, well, nice try, but it still has that bootleg feeling. I'm rambling so much. I hope you guys don't mind. Part of it, that postal processing was centered around letter, which I've dropped off dramatically. Parcel require more handling. Yeah, that's a good point. But still, I mean, it still sees, like, people still use it a lot. Bootleg Halloween? Oh, I'm loving it so much. That's so funny. Bootleg Halloween. Yeah, the fixed rate boxes from the post office are quite nice. We are starting to get that here, except that the limit weight is like 5 kilograms, I think. Oh, that's so awesome, Patricia. I'm glad they came to help. But yeah, I have like part of my family is from France and Alsace. I don't know what it is. It's Alsace in French. It's I think I really don't know for sure, but it's some kind of part of France that has a really heavy German background. And I think during like World War II, it was sort of indexed to Germany. Anyway, weird stuff going on. But my granddad was from there, and that's why we had a lot of he made a lot of recipes from his birthplace, like couglouf, and anise bredel, and plenty of like stuff. He made braided brioche bread, and he made a bunch of stuff that was from there. So I kind of wish I could experience for myself this feeling of the Christmas market, because I feel that's something that part of my family probably grew up with. And I feel like it has a really nice mood and really puts you in the spirit of the holidays. Which is not something you get down here when you get to the Christmas market, because it's basically like a bunch of tourists and people trying to sell you things, and it's not a place you go to have fun, you know? Anyway, I'm not sure what to make of all of this. Like, in terms of food, they will have like more like fair food, you know, like not necessarily things that would be considered traditional Christmas stuff. Aw, my Nana's church has a Christmas market called the Frosty Fair. That's so cute. But they have been struggling to keep it going because the older generation that makes all the stuff are retiring, dying. Oh my... Aw. The food of Alsace is wonderful. Oh, I agree. I'm not big on the choucroute. I don't know if that counts. She has. It's time for a bit of cleaning. Yeah, Pico. Boop. Salut. It's a her. Both my cats are ladies, if I can say that. They're sisters. A cat that washes its face is one of my favorite things to look at, and the ears too, because it's so methodical. Like, lick the paw, get the paw wet, and then rub it on your face. Then lick the paw again, pick up whatever crud you picked up on your face, do it again. And a funny thing too is, like, cats can have a really crummy breath at times. Like, the old kibble / dry food breath is not ideal. But when they wash themselves, they don't stink. They don't smell of old food when they wash themselves. So I'm like, this is magical. Scout's allergies are better. Thank you for asking, Lise. She still has no fur growing above her eyes. Like, if I were to... I was looking at old pictures of Scout the other day, and I was like, oh, she used to have fur on top of her eyes, but let's say this is her eye. Like, she has the sort of the inner eyelid, not the eyelid, but the waterline. And she has no fur on this area. She starts having fur like around that. So it kind of makes for a funny face, because she has like this, she has black fur, sorry. And then she has this light-skinned area here. But aside from that, she has a scratch or two sometimes behind the ear, but overall it's better. But yeah, it still makes me laugh that she's like completely defurred her brows. Yeah, of course, Peko. Scout is allergic to chicken and possibly some sort of pollen, we don't know. She always gets like spikes in her allergy reaction when we do. So I think she's sensitive to whatever her humans are sensitive to. But yeah, since we don't know what we are sensitive to in terms of which plant, I don't really know what she's sensitive to. But chicken really is not for her. I love how cats smell when they come in from outside when it's cold. Such a fresh, nice smell. My cats don't go outside, but I can imagine that smells good. Plucked eyebrows. Yeah, she plucks her eyebrows well. She scratches her face like whenever it's itchy and I see her scratch herself, I'm always like, one day you're gonna like tear off your ear. Like she scratches, she has no Scout is either 0% or 100%. She has no middle ground. When she does something, she does it like way too extremely, and it applies to scratching. Even when it's just a regular itch, she's like really going at it, and we're always like, yikes, you're gonna rip off pieces. My cat's face smells like Rice Krispies. I don't know why he doesn't drink milk. That's hilarious. Oh no. Charlie says, one of my cats used to fight other cats. He once snuck into a neighbor's house and their cat was so scared of him it wet itself. Oh, poor baby. Your cat is a thug. Pico would be banned from Twitch right now. Yep. She's always waiting for the live streams to do that, honestly. She knows. Unladylike behavior. That's a really nice way to put it. Oh wow, chicken. Dante's allergic to chicken too. Oh, I'm so sorry, Lena. I've read that more and more pets become allergic to chicken because it may be poor quality. I'm pretty sure we can say that it is poor quality. And because it's used often. Yeah, definitely. I mean, they don't use the organic, free-roaming chickens to make pet food. They use whatever is not used in the food industry. Come on. Or either that or you pay an insane price for your pet food because they use supposedly fancier ingredients. I mean, they don't even use the fancy meat for us humans, so I cannot imagine them using it for pets. My hand is not very steady today. I hope I won't do like a huge blob of inking. Again! Péco, tu vas tomber! Tombe pas! I'm gonna cover up this. Sensor. C'est ma... Ben oui, c'est ma main. Tes fesses qui puent pas ma main, espèce de tweet. On va faire tous des soupirs. Oui, compact. Allez, compactons. Compactons. Yes, sir. Et voilà. C'est bon? C'est bon? Tout est propre, tout est beau? Yeah, we don't give the cats organic pet food, but we give them food that is for sensitive stomachs. It's made from lamb, I think. Used to be made from herring. I mean, it was smelly, but since I'm not the one eating it, so I don't really care about the smell, and the cats were fine with it. And I feel better like knowing that they use herring in the food rather than lamb. Because I believe that it's got to be less of a strain to grow herring than to grow lambs. You know what I mean. But they discontinued that flavor. And the thing is with dogs, I think dogs can do with a slightly more varied diet. Like you can give them sweet potatoes, you can give them different things a bit, but for cats, they are strictly carnivore. So they try sometime in the formulas, you see, they add rice, they add veggies, but the cats don't give a crap about that stuff. I'm sure I told the story, but when I saw that the herring food was hard to find, I wrote the company and I was like, hey, what's up with the herring food? Like, we can't seem to find it anymore. So does that mean that you stopped making it? And they wrote back saying, yeah, we stopped making it. But I also put in my email, like, I said, like, I was looking at your other, like, specific foods. And I'm like, why do you put carrot in cat food? And it was for something like texture or like whatever. And I was like, you know what? Cats, they don't give a crap about the texture of their food. They don't. The only times I've seen carrots in a food was in that disgusting Hills food that the vets are selling. And both my cats were grossed out by it. They ate it once, I think because they were so hungry. But after that, they were like, you know what? Where's the... Not really good, that stuff. I don't like it. Not even sweet potatoes? I thought sweet potatoes were good for dogs. But yeah, I mean, don't put carrots in my cat food. What? And sometimes I read the recipes of like the... I'm always on the lookout for things that Scout can eat. Just in case they stop making her sensitive stomach food. Because I'm sure that's gonna happen at some point. So I'm always checking out like all the stuff they say, like, ooh, only natural ingredients. And I'm like, okay, what's in there? And there's like blueberry powder and the dried cranberries. And I'm like, who is this food for? Is it for me or is it for the cats? Because I guarantee you that the cats doesn't give two craps, about cranberries and whatnot. What they care about is meat. Like in the wild, which is mostly urban setting, like say they eat a bird or they eat a rodent or they eat whatever. There's going to be a tiny bit of skin and fur or feathers and maybe whatever that thing ate before. So if the cat decides to eat the stomach, which I'm not even sure that's something they do, but they might get a tiny portion of like something that is not meat, but they only eat meat. So the vet has Sydney on Hills. What do you give your guys? I want her off the Hills. Yeah, I'm not big on Hills. I don't know. I gave it a really fair chance, and both my cats hates it. The food looks gross. It's super expensive. It's even more expensive than like high tier quality food. We have a local not pet store because they don't sell pets, but they sell all things related to pets, like scratching post, litter, food, carriers, and like bird feed, the bedding for pets and all of that. And it's called Mondou. And we gave our cats the Purina Pro Plan food, which is like the higher tier quality food that you can still get at a pet store, but not the vet stuff. And that's why, because they have the sensitive stomach food. And the first vet that we saw, that we no longer see because he has moved, but the first vet we saw that actually was worth it, that's what he recommended. That's what he was selling in his clinic, but he said, he told us, he was like, well, I recommend this because I like it. It's also what I sell in the store, so there's that. But I really like this food. And basically, just try to give them the best tier of food that you can possibly afford. Like, if someone can only afford cheap cat food, well, that's better than no food at all, I guess. But if that's something that you try to budget for, like, try to go for the best quality you can. And I'm sorry, but Hills is not great quality. When you look at the ingredients, like, the first things are not meat in there. The one that they had us give to Scout, or maybe Pecco, like, I think it was like flour, or if it was meat, it was like powdered meat byproduct. And I was like, you know what? And like, yeah, Hills is full of rice and veg. That's the thing, though. When we got the cats, when we got them at first, it was our idea to get them on what they call a holistic diet, which is basically grain-free and all of that. But the thing is, that made them really ill. They had a really hard time digesting this stuff. So we panicked a bit because we were like new cat parents and we had no idea what's going on. And that's when we went to see the vet that I mentioned, and he told us that like holistic diets, they're not necessarily good because they're so heavy in proteins, and it's like more food, more proteins than the cat would process if it ate outside. So it's really hard on their digestive tract. So that's when he recommended to us that we use the Purina food. Not a big fan of Purina because it's owned by Nestle, but this is not the place where I want to fight. Choose your battles. I'm not choosing this one. I would rather have something that my cats can eat, they enjoy, and it does them well. And I will try to avoid Nestle in other places. I can go get, though if I go get the cans of food, are they going to think that it's food time? Possibly. But we give them wet food, like wet food and dry food. The wet food has no poultry in it. And the dry food has a bit of poultry, but it's made for sensitive stomachs, so it's the best we could find. They eat the whole bird or mouse. Do they leave the bones? Raw potatoes are not good for anyone. That's a good point. Oh no! Lana says, when the potatoes first came to Europe, many died because they didn't know how to prepare them, and some tried making tea with the leaves. Oops. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's not an absolute. The goal is to get your pet the best food that is possible for you to get them, but no one should feel guilt in, like, if it's grocery store food, that's cool. That's fine. Like, it's problematic if your cat has sensitivities, but if your cat can eat it and enjoys it, the only concern is to not give them too much, because they might get fat on it, but that's just a regular concern for anyone. Akana was the best thing for my cat's allergies. I've never seen that brand. But yeah, when we tried the holistic food that was really high in protein, they got really sick. Like, the food would go right through them, in and out, and it was not ideal for anyone, especially for them. So then we switched them to the Purina food, and that went much better. I'm so annoyed the wet food my folks have been getting is obviously been colored a more appealing color. It kind of does that though, because like even the food that I get for the cats that is kind of fancy-ish, not very fancy, but it's not the one they sell at the super cheap price. But when I open the can, it's a certain color. And we don't give them the full can in one go, so we save up some of it in the fridge. And when I give them the part that was in the fridge, you can tell that it has changed color a bit. But I wonder if it's just the way the conservation, when you buy meat at the grocery store and the packaging, it's bright red, but I think it's because they put like CO2 in there. And if you were to open the package, the meat would brown a bit. I don't know. Some bones, I think, and I have seen big feather left uneaten. Oh, that's interesting. The only things I've really seen eaten by what I assume are cats were like pigeons. And I think a pigeon is kind of a big mess for a cat to eat completely. Like, I wonder if it's when it's a smaller bird, if they possibly eat more of it. But yeah. Thor sometimes leaves the skulls and always the gallbladder. Huh. Isn't that fascinating though, how like pets would know what is unedible? Some plant matter is just ballast to avoid too much protein. Yeah, that's basically what the vet told us. The full protein stuff was really like too difficult for them to digest. And I think it like really irritated their bowels. It still has a high percentage of protein in cat food because yeah, they need it, but it doesn't have to be 100% protein. I think the usual is what, 30-40%? That's the funny thing though. Once while I was sort of online shopping for, not really shopping, I was researching what foods were available that possibly didn't have chicken in it. And the brand that we, like Purina, had a new type of food, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, what's in it? And I look, and I'm like, okay, there's, like, it's not ideal, there's a lot of, like, byproduct. I think there was some weird things in there, but then I compared the sort of the nutritional fact with the brand we get them at the moment, and the newer, fancier brand had more fat and less protein in it. And that just made me go, huh. So that's something you can check too, without necessarily focusing on the ingredients. Sometimes they have this rundown of the basic things about the food, like the minimum protein content, the fat content, and perhaps one other thing. And you can compare the food with that. And I think that's a good place to start. Like if something has a lower protein percent in there, like say one has 40% and the other has 30%, well, you might be better off getting the 40% one. Cats don't need a lot of fat. It's not really good for them. Jackson's is a Schminke 12th travel set there right now with different colors from the usual one. Where? Where is it? Where is it? Show it. I want to see it. Twinkle used to eat everything but the kidneys. Ew! Although I once stepped on a dead mouse in Ew. Ew, that's a gift for you. Yeah, it makes me laugh because what I don't know if it's like I hear things and sometimes I don't update what I hear about cats, so I hope my cat knowledge is not too dated. But it kind of made me laugh when they were like, well, cats leave praise, dead praise for you because they think you suck at hunting. Like they're like, oh my gosh, my big thingy there with 2 legs that gives me food is a terrible hunter. I gotta feed them. I gotta give them something to eat because they obviously cannot hunt for themselves. It really makes me laugh. One has to be a moderator for links. Crap. Hold on. Can I? Here. Mallory, I made you a mod just so you could post the link there. The lights were off and I must have scared the life out of my family with my screaming. Understandable. It comes... Oh, I... You're talking about the Schminke Absolute Shield set. That's how I dubbed it. Would you guys be surprised if I told you I got it? Hey, Carolyn, hi! Can we see my kitty mug? Oh, we can see my kitty mug! It's a great mug for the winter because it's a double wall, so my tea stays warm longer. Though it is cold by now. It's been like in this mug for 2 hours, so understandably. Shamat was catching mice for owl. Really? Whoa. I can't see... oh, I can see the link now. Yeah. Yeah, that's... I don't think anyone is surprised when I say I like cats and when I get schminke paints anymore. I don't think that's a surprise for anyone. But yeah, when I saw, first of all, that set comes in a box that is made to look like a gigantic quinacridone magenta pan. Like it's a box and it looks like a pan of schminke paint, and it comes with an apron. There's a travel mug that can double as a water container for painting. A really awesome small tin of 12 colors that are different from the usual selection. Brush soap. I think it has a Da Vinci travel brush in there too. And I think that's it. Life Kitty is lovely too. That's Pecco. If you guys have never heard about my cats before. I have 2 cats, 2 sisters. This one, the orange and white one, is Pecco, and I have a tortoiseshell that's sleeping in a bedroom that's called Scout. The schminke cup is made of really sturdy plastic. I was kind of impressed, to be honest. It's plastic, but it's nice and thick and solid, and I think it's BPA free. Oh really? Wow! Malvina says that the cat, Shamat, she was going with us to the aviary to see the owl and leave the mouse there. That is so cool. Oh man. Pets are fascinating. It's like, hey, I know you cannot really hunt because you're in this place here, so I brought you a snack. I'm loving it. Like, how can someone not want to invent a billion stories based on stuff like that? I mean, come on. Yeah, Scout plucks her eyebrows. Oh, I like that the schminke box looked like a giant pan too. The first time I saw it was when they made the giveaway. They made a giveaway some time ago featuring that set, and I was like, what? And I was pretty like impressed with it, especially because like if the set had been the regular travel, you know, the color selection from their regular set, I am not sure I would have gotten it. As much of a shill as I am. I see shill, but they don't pay me for anything. But then I saw that the color selection in the palette was different and very interesting, and I was like, uh-oh. You know what happens then. Crud, and yeah. I mean to do a sort of a video featuring it, but I haven't gotten around to it. I have a couple of things like that have been in the making, but haven't gotten around to it because I don't have a reliable source of energy within me, and there's always something that comes up. Like last week I had to redo the website for the comic that I do with Mr. E. Because our previous platform for posting it went kaput. And I was like, yep, I am not a web designer, so time to give myself a headache by trying to fix this. So that took up most of my week, and then Sometimes I'm just like tired and I don't feel... It's a lot of work for me to prepare the script for the videos because I am not a native English speaker, so I much prefer to rely on scripts when I do the voiceover, because that way there's a lot less what's the word, and I can just think, and even then I make mistakes still, but at least I can think about it a bit more. So yeah. Is Queen Magenta even in this set? I don't know. That's something I should definitely look at. That's something that's hilarious. Can you imagine? The whole thing comes in a in a Queen Magenta box and it's not even in the set. That would be so funny and silly, but also funny. But I'm gonna have to wait for this to dry a bit anyway, so we can take a look at it while this dries. Oh, thank you so much then. You are too kind. Oh, let's get the box. Let's try to not ruin everything. Okay. Yoko. Salut. Tiens, ma choupi. Ah ouais. Oh. C'est sans se coucher mon chat. That's the box. It comes in a box. It's a box in a box. It's this pretty cool... Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I got it. I mean, I felt like it was like yelling my name. It's like, you are a shill, buy this set. So it's really made to look like a... Like, it even has like, you know, the fake metallic wrapper. And this is what you get in it. Oh yeah, that's a... I don't know if it's a Da Vinci brush, but it's quite different. So you have an apron, some paper, a brush, soap, a travel brush, a travel set, a sponge, and a cup. So I've opened it already, I've checked everything in there, but I put it back in. Because, like, that's easier. That's easier to film. Like, it has a sea sponge. This is the soap, which is kind of adorable because it's so tiny. Oops. And dusty, apparently. Oh, it smells good. It smells a bit like citrusy. It's like the Da Vinci soap, and it's my... That's it. I inhaled some of the soap dust, so that's something to be careful for, I guess. It smells a bit like lemongrass. What does it say in there? Not much. That's the cup. I mean, I say that's the cup as if that wasn't obvious enough, but yeah. What does it say? It says made in UK, microwave safe, BPA free, top rack dishwasher safe, 35 centiliters, Americano. What? I don't want this to like... I can't do that. Oh no, wait. I'm dumb. It's a screw top. You have to unscrew it. Like, there are... these have a name, but you can like screw it inside the top of the water container. This is in German. So yeah, it is, I don't know if you can tell, but it is thick and good sturdy plastic. And yeah, the top screws on, so that's kind of secure. It's not watertight because there's a hole for drinking here and there, but it is really like nicely put together. Hey Mikey, welcome back. You could possibly help translate, but I think it's mostly like microwave information, and I don't know, I don't think this will be able to zoom properly on the text. But I feel like it's the care and usage of this thing. I might, like, I can scan it and post it on the Discord server. Okay, this is the set. This is the watercolor postcard. 120 pound, 10 sheets, honey mule paper. It's probably cellulose because they don't say it's cotton. It's nice and thin though. But yeah, that's nice. And everything has this plooge of, you know, very magenta, purple, red on it, which fits with the design of the... And that's the apron. I will not be opening it because you won't be able to see on this camera anyway. I will keep that for the actual review. But I can sneak it. It's a really nice thickness and quality of material. I wish I could see if it's cotton or not. Like what's it made of? Is there a tag somewhere handy without me having to unfold the whole thing? Oh, there it is. Material 240 GSM polycotton. So polyester cotton. Okay, so put this back in. This over here. Check this up quickly. So it's the usual 12 pan schminke tin. Yeah. This is one that they make, and I don't know why they do that, but I find it a bit weird in terms of the box because it has these really sharp edges on this flap, and it doesn't have any border, so if you cannot make a really juicy mix on there, because if you do, it's gonna spill. You can only make them in the lid. So yeah, that's always something that I found a bit weird about their pan sets. Blank chart. And this bottom also has this super sharp edges, so that's kind of dangerous. Fun to note that the tray, the insert doesn't have any, you know, it doesn't have the tabs that you can lift it up from. So you gotta be super careful when you remove this. Has a brush. This is super sharp as well. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. Do other watercolor brands put out a gift set like this one? It's usually for Christmas time, and as far as I know, Schminke are the champion of the Christmas sets. They always come up with super interesting sets during the holiday season. I think this year we got at least 5 new sets. There's this one that I personally call the Shield set because you basically become branded with Schminke stuff after you buy this. They have the leather set of professional paint. They have a new, not that this pattern, but there is a new holiday themed set of their student range paints that has a colorful tint. This one was from a couple years ago, but this year it's a wash but all in yellow. It's really nice. They had the new curved oak set, the smaller one. They have the bigger one too that was new this year. So there's always new stuff. It's so dangerous. I love the cup though. Will you let yourself use it? I might use it to drink water, honestly. Just, you know, I like that even if I tip it, it's not gonna spill right away. If it spills, it's gonna spill just a bit because the holes in it are small, and I never drink enough water, so I will probably use it for water. So the colors in this set, we get lemon yellow, which is PY3, I think, which is kind of a really common color in their sets. Let's see, yes, PY3. Then we have quinacridone gold hue, which is super interesting. It's a really nice warm yellow. So you have your sort of cool neutral yellow in the lemon yellow, then a warm yellow here. Then you have a warm red in geranium red. Then you have permanent carmine. This one is in the regular selection too. So you have your warm and your cool red. Then there is perylene violet, which is really interesting. Neutral tint, also quite interesting. Then you get 3 blues. One is, well, this one is not supposed to be blue. It says it's ultramarine violet. So this is like a really bluish violet color. Then you have ultramarine finest, which in my opinion is their best ultramarine. One of the best overall that I use the most. It's the only color of my 24 set that I went through. It's the first one I went through. I reached the pan and I had to refill it because I wasn't able to get enough paint out of it. So really nice ultramarine blue. Then the warm, so this is your warm blue, and this is the cool blue. It's phthalo blue, so it's a really nice one to have in there. May green, which is a nice light yellowish green. Then you have perylene green. So we have perylene violet and perylene green. So that's super interesting. The green is almost black, really, really dark green, and the violet is also really, really deep. And the last color is sepia brown, which I think is part of the regular set, possibly. So it's a really unique selection. It's quite different. Usually you get, trying to remember, it's been a while, but you get like 2 yellows that are fairly similar. Then you get the reds. At least the Schminke sets always have the split primary. You get 2 yellows, 2 reds, 2 blues usually. Then you get 2 greens, 3 earth tones, and a black, if I remember well. What pigment is that geranium red? It's so dark outside, it's not even 5 o'clock. I don't know if you guys can see this. Okay, I'll be moving the camera, so if you are sensitive to camera movement, look away for a second. But I don't know if you can see outside. Like, it's pitch black. And it's 10 to 5. This is so depressing. No wonder seasonal affective disorder is a thing. I mean, good grief. Okay, the geranium red is PR242. So we know the yellow is a single pigment, that we know. The quin gold is not a single pigment because there is no longer single pigment quin gold available. Permanent carmine, single pigment, perylene violet. Neutral tint is a mix. I'm personally of the idea that single or multiple pigment paints don't really change anything, but I know some people are always curious about this stuff. So this one has 3 colors in it. They have 2 neutral colors. They have a neutral gray that doesn't include the black. It's a mix of a red, a yellow, and a blue, I think. And they have this one, which is PR122, so magenta, anthraquinone or indanthrone blue, and black. So it's kind of a purplish black color. You need Christmas markets. They are only fun when it's cold and dark. Yeah, we really do. So all we get is depression. Ultramarine violet, I think, is 2 pigments. It's PV15 and PB29. This one is a single pigment. Ultramarine finest, phthalo blue, single pigment. Me green is 2 pigments. Yeah, a yellow and a green. Perylene green, single pigment. And sepia brown, I hope, is a single pigment. No, it's 3 pigments. Okay then. So that's the rundown of the set, quite quickly. I will try to carefully open the brush. I'm always nervous when brushes are new. Oh my gosh, it's so tight. I know I have an elastic somewhere. Ah, there it is. Oh, it's pretty. It's not branded though. The regular set, the regular 12 color set, comes with a travel Da Vinci brush. So this one is quite nice. But it's, I have no idea, it's not branded, so I cannot say like, oh, it's this brand, I've used their brushes before, they're good. This is a surprise brush, but in its solid state, it's quite nice. It's quite small. To me, that's a detail brush for my personal use. Okay, fits nicely in there though. I feel like a lot of sepias are 3 pigment blend. Yeah, a lot of them. I think, might be wrong, but I think M. Graham is possibly the only one I know who has its single pigment, maybe? I don't know. But it bums me out. The one that bums me out the most, though, is when you get the really basic earth colors. So I'm talking raw sienna, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, raw umber, burnt umber. When these are a mix and not the usual pigment that is associated with that color, that bothers me so much. Have you found the migraine to fade? It doesn't have Aurelin in it. Real Aurelin is cobalt yellow, and I don't remember what's the color code for the pigment, but migraine has PY 151 and PG7. PY 151 is used quite often, actually. Okay, so that was sort of unboxing. Yeah, I kind of feel bad because I have many goodies and I haven't shared them all yet. But I'm like working on it and I'm excited and can give a tiny sneak peek. Okay, I have this one too. So yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm always excited for schminke paints. I think that's basically all that I buy now. When I buy paints, I've completed my palette of M. Graham. I really like them too, but my space is too small to work that palette often. And I really only buy schminke paints mostly, which is, I find, partly stupid on my part because they're always pan sets and I'm not that big into pans. They get really... Hold on, let me put this away. I also saved up and got this one, but it's not opened yet. I don't want to open it right away. That's a nice noise. So yeah, it's always, I don't know, I feel kind of bad, but at the same time I really love this stuff. Yeah, my 24 color palette. This one. So, yeah, this is probably the best example I have at the moment because I've refilled the blue. But it's kind of bad for brushes to be using pans so much because you end up digging a hole in there. And when you reach bottom of the pan, then the tip of your brush is squished in the bottom, trying to get some color out of the pan. So I'm not big on pans, but schminke makes mostly pan sets. So, and I love the paint. I really, really love the paint. It's practical, it's easy to carry, but it's not good on brushes. So that's possibly why I prefer to use brushes that are not too expensive for this. So yeah, I have this one. This one was set I bought from Wet Paint some time ago with some extra pans in it too. It has opera in it. Beep, beep. And cobalt teal. And I was happy about that. Sennelier warm sepia. Well, warm sepia is, but what is sepia brown? Hold on. I have it here. Sepia brown is PB. It's so phthalo blue, burnt sienna, and ivory black. I mean, they have burnt sienna, so why is their bloody burnt sienna not made from burnt sienna? Ugh. I think when I'm gonna be done with this pan, I might switch it for another. I need to check if Schmincke has PBR7 in their burnt umber. I'm sorry. I feel bad. I feel really bad. I wish I could like share this stuff, like invite people over and lend out my sets and people could paint with them. I would definitely do that, honestly. Have a great nap, Jill. Thank you so much for stopping by. So should I keep going and paint this, or do you guys have things to do and you would rather I end this so you can leave freely? I would definitely like I'm possibly not good at giving away paint, but I'm really fine with lending paint. So if I lived near other people and we would do like meetups and get together, I would definitely let other people use my set. That I don't mind. It's so much fun to be able to paint with paints that are not a headache, that I really wish I could share with more people. Carolyn says, I wonder if their pan sets are better than other pan sets. I am disappointed in my Sennelier travel set. The color doesn't wet easily and the colors seem less intense. No, I'm sorry, I read another comment, which is why I was giggling. I have, the thing is, okay, let's start with the beginning. With some brands like Sennelier and Winsor & Newton, they have a slightly different formula for their pan set and their tube set. Because the way their pans are made, they're extruded pans, meaning that they, I don't know if I can find a good example. Most of the stuff in there is Schmincke, not not any other brand. Oh my gosh, it's a bit ridiculous. I wish they could make, oh, Sennelier, awesome. They could make like boxes of different colors. Perhaps I need to put washi tape on the side so I can identify my stuff better. I just bought Schmincke's ultramarine violet based on Otto's suggestion. I replaced my cobalt violet with it, but it's sweet. The ultramarine violet? Okay, so an extruded pan is basically a pan that you can easily tell that the paint in there is like a cake, a small cake of paint that was put in a pan. That's extruded paint cakes. Basically, they make the cakes separately, let them dry, and then place them in the pan. So for the cake to hold its shape, sometimes, well, quite often, they have to modify the formula a bit differently from the tube paint, because the paint in the tube has to stay wet, so it's not quite the same thing. Schmincke doesn't use a different formula for their pans or their tubes. The paint you get in the pans is basically the same as the tube paint. They pour it in, they're very happy to say always, very proud to claim that they pour it in 4 different layers, and it's the same paint. So when you end up a pan of Schmincke, if you buy the tube, you can just directly pour it in. It's going to be exactly the same experience you're used to. So in that sense, that's a difference that might explain why sennelier paints in pans are difficult to use, because the formula is made to keep its shape better, not be too soft. The sennelier paints in tube are really soft, they're really sticky because they're made with honey, and they're really not the same formula, so it's kind of difficult. I need to catch up on chat. Okay, and I see that it's the La Petite Aquarelle, so that's the student range. It tends to be a bit weaker too, especially the earth tones. So, yeah, it's kind of difficult to compare student paints with pro paints. I would say that the student schminke paints are possibly a bit better, they're easier to wet. But, yeah, so in an absolute setting, yes, schminke pro pans are better than sennelier La Petite, because it's not quite the same thing. But I don't know if you would possibly find sennelier pro good enough. Like, that's kind of difficult. Perhaps the best would be if you could try other paints. If you like their tube paint, it doesn't travel super well. It tends to stay kind of soft. So that's the problem with putting sennelier into a palette. Oh, thank you so much, Amisha. That means a lot. Yeah, with the pan set, synthetic brushes are really good to reactivate the paint. I've had some sennelier paints in a palette, and they were really fun to use. Like, they were the professional sennelier tubes that I put in a palette, but they they really don't like traveling. Like, if you put the palette at an angle like that, at some point I opened the palette and there was like gum arabic that had like went down the palette and became all sticky at the bottom, and I was like, what? But you're not supposed to do that, really. Stop it. Oops. I haven't used Schminke's Ultramarine Violet a lot. It's not their strongest color as far as I remember, but it's quite pretty. So if you want a really strong, cool purple, Dioxazine Violet is possibly your best friend. That one can be almost black in certain brands. Like, when you apply it really strongly, it's almost black. Yeah, it was only the gum arabic and not the pigment that went down the palette. There was this sticky goo at the bottom, and I was like, oh no. It was possibly honey and gum arabic, because sennelier tubes are full of honey too. So let's erase this. Pico, t'es ben trop cute. T'es ben trop cute. Oui. Qu'est-ce que je vais faire avec toi? Trop cute. Oh, this poor cat has a bit of an arm missing. Oh, congratulations, Lise. Finishing a sketchbook is really, really awesome. That's great, Carolyn. If you are unsure about a Sennelier Pro set, you can always get a couple of tubes of your favorite colors first to try, or a couple of pans of your favorite colors. Because I know that professional paints and set are an investment. And it's kind of disappointing to buy a professional set and then realize that it's not necessarily the good match for you. That's also why I wish I could lend my set, so people could try things and decide if it's for them or not. Okay, I'll be right back. with some water for painting. It's so dark in here. I have struggled to get the deep dark greens I want from mixing, and I think the perylene green is maybe the answer. The pan is off center. Painting, right? Yes, très cher, but it would be worth it if the effects are so much better. It would be, but it's kind of difficult. Like I'm don't know where to put myself in regards to that. Like, I know I love schminke palettes, so when I see a schminke palette, I don't even ask myself. I know I like the paint, so I get the set. But I have other sets that you don't see me use as much, and it's ultimately because I tried them, and it delivers a good result, of course, because it's good paint, but it's not necessarily the one I would reach for first if I have other choices. So that's kind of why it's a bit tricky to invest in a real set, because it's gonna last you a long time, and if you end up not feeling joy from using it, then you're gonna keep searching for something else, another set. So it really depends. Okay, let's see if we can mix some super dark greens from really common color. I think that's a fun idea. Yeah, let's grab this one. I forgot to snip up the camera cord up there. Okay, good. I want to try the Natural 2 palette by A. Gallo. Oh, it's so pretty, isn't it? It's so pricey though. That's kind of a difficult thing with super nice artisan-made paint set, is that they are beautiful, but it's harder for me to justify the price because I know it's not something I would pick up all the time to color illustrations. So I'm always like, I can justify putting, let's just take the price of the A. Gallo set. That is about, I think it's 185 euros for the big one, which is a lot of money. So I would feel more confident buying a schminke set at that same price because I know I would use it more. The natural set is beautiful, but I would mostly do what with it? That's where I'm like a bit iffy. I feel the same about Holbein. There are so many colors I never use and only go back to the same colors when I use that set. I do that with my schminke set too. Like, I don't know if you can, well, you can tell, but not all colors are used up equally. Like the yellows here are almost new. Prussian blue is almost new. This one here also, I think this is phthalo blue. So yeah, there are colors that you're gonna go for less, that's normal, but if you don't want to, if you're not excited about picking up the set, that's when I think there's a bit of an issue. I'm trying to find the color of Auvergne. It's evasive, much like the places. What is the color of Auvergne? That's pretty cool. Filling palettes are super fun. Okay, so let's start with phthalo green. I need the dark green for my tree anyway, so it's not like I'm not gonna use it. So technically, if I use this phthalo green, which is kind of a bluish, you know, semi-dark green already, it's a good... If I mix it with a tiny bit of its complementary color, I should be able to darken it substantially. So since this one is kind of blue, I feel like I'm gonna try with the... That's one of the things, like with color theory, sometimes you just try it and see for yourself. It's gonna take less time to try it than to research it. Oh, that's not bad. It's not a bad start. That's the first sort of mix I get. I'm just gonna make a... So this is the pure phthalo green here. That is such a nice description, to be excited about the paints you use. Yeah, that's the whole point, isn't it? Oh, thank you so much for being here, Mallory. Have a great weekend. I don't sing narrate often. I sing to the cats often. I don't know if that counts. Because I'm basically singing to myself. They don't really care. So I added a bit more red in it. And it's getting quite dark. I don't know if that's the kind of color you were looking for. I think it was Amicia. Oh yeah, the schminke colors are... Nothing to say really about it. If I look at here, is there a color in this set that is a bit harder to re-wet? Not... Well, the sepia brown I find a bit harder to re-wet, but basically with all of these you can... If they are a bit harder to re-wet, you put a bit of water on it, and boom, it's gonna come right back. But I mean, phthalo green is always a super rich color, so it's not like I'm setting the bar super duper... Like, I'm not starting with a difficult one. That's a really dark green. Oh. Yeah, I sing to the cats all the time. Mr. E does the same. We have theme songs for them, and sometimes it's just instrumental music, or sometimes I make them dance before feeding them because they've been annoying me for like an hour asking for food. So I'm like, oh yeah, you want to eat? You gotta dance for it, and I put them on their back legs and I make them wiggle a bit. I sort of ran out of color, so I'm gonna mix some more and not be too bothered if it's not exactly the same color. I would suggest, if you want to darken a color, to avoid as much as possible adding black to it. In terms of my personal take on this is that I find that colors that you darken with black or lighten with white, it tends to kill the vibrancy. So, in my opinion, you're better off darkening a color with its complementary, or something that is close to its complementary. And it's gonna make for a richer color. Like here, it's a tiny bit more red in the mix, so instead of being flat with the black, it's like deeper. Or that's I know that's my take on it. If you really like darkening with black, you can do it. I mean, every set comes with a black color, so if you like darkening with black, more power to you. I have a black pen in there, but I mostly use it to paint black cats. It's one of the very few uses I've found for black paint. It's black cats. The thing is, Caroline, if you're into schminke set, now's a good time to check Jackson's. They might have something on sale that could be quite enjoyable, but yeah, they are good paints. How old is my cat? This one? This one here? Hello, my pickle. Hello. Hey, baby. Ouais, oh, c'est dur. Difficile d'être un petit chat. Difficile. Poulette. She is 8 years old already. Oh my gosh, that went by so fast. And yeah, they both sleep a lot now. It took them at least 5 years before they really settled down. But now they are much calmer. They're much older too. I mean, 8 years doesn't seem like a lot to us, but in terms of cat growth, 8 years is a lot. They're grandma cats now. Mikey says, I feel like adding black or white flattens the color. It really does. It really does. I agree. I feel like it was only like not too long ago that we got them as tiny kittens, but it's been 8 years, almost 9. This is phthalo green blue shade. I don't know if you can see, but it has this it's the one that when you dilute it a lot, it has this sort of aqua feeling to it. But it's the blue shade one. The yellow shade one is really like trying to find a good way to describe it. But it's really less blue. Definitely less blue. I don't know if it shows well on camera though. I hope it does. Oh, Bunny is an old lady. Oh, if yours is yellow shade, hold on. This is interesting. I love doing color theory stuff. Let's see if I can find. Oh yeah, I know which set has one. This set has one. Because I think we can use the same logic I used to mix the first one to mix one with yellow shade. So let's see. I think this one is the yellow shade one. So it's a really nice, rich green. Oh, that's so beautiful. That's kind of emerald greeny. greeny. Okay, so if we got through that dark green with the blue shade by mixing sort of a complementary color into it, I want to know if I can do the same with this one. I feel like I should be able to do the same with this one, but there's nothing quite like testing it out to see if it works. So let's... Okay, cool. This is the PG36 phthalo green yellow shade. I'm gonna try mixing some PV19 into it, because that's kind of a cool red color. Which one on my set is PV19? I think it's possibly the one I don't use quite often. Oh wait. Yeah, it's the one I don't use very much. Sorry, maybe that was loud. Okay, so I'm gonna try mixing it with this one, see what happens. It's darkening, it's darkening. Had some more. Oh, that's lovely. It's more muted, of course, but it's still has a... Oh wow, that's almost neutral. Whoa. Oh no, you can see. Crud. Okay, cool. And it's not that instinctive, I found, because it's can be like, when I got back into painting, I wouldn't have thought that ultramarine blue and burnt sienna would neutralize, but they do. So it's a lot of thing that is based on practice and experimenting and experience. Like, the more you try stuff, the more you will find out about stuff. It's not really just a matter of having all the tools, but sometimes it takes a lot of repetition to learn the thing, actually. Like, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get a darker green, but I figured the only way I can find out is by trying it. So let's play with it a bit. So yeah, I think you can get a nice dark green with your phthalo green yellow shade and a cool magenta-ish red. So you take, if you have a split primary, you take your cool red and you mix it with your green. Hopefully you will be able to get kind of a darker green that would work well for dark trees and that kind of stuff. Which brand and paint is in the plastic palette? That's Daniel Smith. Except the Opera. I think the Opera is Holbein. I am not sure though. So yeah, definitely try it with your Daniel Smith PV19. If it's you know, if it's similar to this color here, should be, because often is, but I know that... Oh, you got the... Is your split primary the Daniel Smith set of the split primary? If so, it's a really good PV19 to try this with. Yeah, that neutralized super quickly. Good to know. Oh man. Wow, Patricia, you took good care of these kitties. That's really respectable. 18 and 20 years old. Oh my gosh, for a cat, that's really, really old. And yeah, definitely, Amisha, keep playing with your paints. Keep, you know, it's a good idea to always keep the color wheel as a really vague notion in your mind. Just to remember, like, especially what is opposite what, roughly. Like, if you remember that orange is opposite blue, and then that can be a good place to start if you want to neutralize either of this color. And if you try, say you mix your orange with a cool blue and it doesn't work out, try with the warm blue, see if that works better. So that's, personally, that's the only, oops, sorry about that, that's the only way I use the color wheel really in my head, is just to try and remember what is opposite what, so that I can try something off on the palette quickly. Sorry. I'm gonna try using some of that gnarly burnt sienna that I don't like. I'm kind of excited to finish this pan so I can switch it with another burnt sienna, burnt umber possibly. I don't know why this set has Venetian red and burnt sienna. I don't feel like there's that much of a difference between these two. I would have much preferred to have Venetian red and a burnt sienna that is PBR7, because this is kind of too yellow for me. It's too vibrant. I feel like actual PBR7 burnt sienna is a bit more muted, and it's kind of a nicer hue in my opinion. Grumpy old cats are so precious. Oh, I'm still out of camera. Bleh. When I say my workspace is small, that's not an exaggeration. Stay there. New procrastination project, make it a new color wheel with my current paints. Do you ever substitute quinacridone rust for burnt sienna? M. Graham has a nice array of the quinacridones. Quinacridone rust. I think it's a bit too vibrant for my tastes of burnt sienna. Do I have a good burnt sienna nearby? I don't think I do. I don't think I have one. I think the only one I kind of like is Daniel Smith, and I don't have a Daniel Smith palette. Oh no, wait, the Renaissance one is quite good, but my Renaissance paints are not labeled in there. Oh, maybe here. Oh no, I don't think this has a chart. Oh, that's not the one I'm thinking of. Good grief. Oh, where is that stupid palette? Which is something I say perhaps too often. Are you kidding me? Oh, I hate you right now. Okay. Okay. I think Core has a great burnt sienna. That was what I was looking for. My Core palette. So which one is burnt sienna? 1, 2, 3, 4th. Or I could have possibly found my M. Graham palette too. I think they have a great one. So let's just swatch. This is fairly sure that Core has PBR7 as a burnt sienna. Not 100% sure, but fairly sure. So that's the color it is. I hope it does, otherwise I'm gonna really shoot myself in the foot right now. Okay. And then I'm gonna swatch the schminky one. Like, it's not the same. It doesn't neutralize as the same. It does neutralize with ultramarine, but it's a bit too vibrant, which is something that's possibly absurd to say, but like I really like a good burnt sienna with this kind of hue. So whenever I get one that has PR 101 in there, I'm always a bit, I know it's gonna be like too intense for my likes. I mean, it's a beautiful color, but it's kind of not what I associate with burnt sienna. Core is a PBR7, yes, just check. Thank you so much. I'm kind of good now. I can kind of tell just by looking at the color if it's PBR7 burnt sienna or PBR7 burnt umber. I'm kind of tuned in, kind of good. Well, sure, by all means, if you like a bright burnt sienna, that's good. I mean, you'd be happy with the schminke one. Yeah, that's why. PBR7 from Daniel Smith is... burnt sienna from Daniel Smith is PBR7th too. And I really like it. The first combination of colors that I tried from Daniel Smith really didn't work for me. So for a really long time I had a really bad impression of ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. It was the... French ultramarine blue and Italian burnt sienna, and I hated them both. They're so hard. They dry like pebbles from Daniel Smith. I hated them. I was like, these colors are not worth being angry over, so I kind of shunned them. I was like, nope, not for me. But eventually I tried different brands, versions of these colors, and I was like, oh, wait. Even Daniel Smith, the regular version of their ultramarine blue and burnt sienna are much better, in my opinion, than the French and Italian ones. So I was like, oh, yeah, okay. And then I sort of reconciled with those two colors. But yeah, oh my gosh, Italian burnt sienna and French ultramarine from Daniel Smith. I hate them. I really do hate them. Not saying that they're a bad color, they're just not colors for me. They don't exhibit the qualities I like in both of these colors, which is being somewhat easy to re-wet. Not having to scrape a pan for 10 minutes before you get some sort of color out of it. We weren't talking about black. I think I'm gonna make a black cat again. So whenever I do a black cat, it's out of the frame, so it's a bit hard to see. Well, it's impossible to see if it's out of the frame, actually, but I don't know if you can see, but the compartments in the lid of my set, I often use these colors, so they've stayed the same mostly. So I have kind of a brownish black, a grayish blue, a brownish gray, and green. So whenever I want to paint a black cat, I will get black a lot because I want it to be black, you know, not gray or whatnot. But I will often add a smidge of either the sepia brown or a tiny bit of burnt sienna in it, or a tiny bit of blue, just to give the black kind of an undertone that gives it a tiny bit more appeal in my book. I know that it's not everyone who like, some people like black things to be completely black. I've had that comment quite often on artwork in the past, like because you know how things are influenced by the way they are lit. So something that you know is a specific color might not look like it's that, like, you know, your brain adapts and understand that with the lighting that thing is this color. But if you were to pick that color with a color picker, it would not be the color you know it is. So I've had kind of issues in the past of me painting things that are affected by light, so the color is not quite the same, and people are like, oh, you didn't paint this the right color, it's supposed to be this color. And I'm like, yeah, but lighting is a thing. Oh, that's kind of too dark, actually. Lighting is a thing, and also artistic license is another thing. Like, it's really dark, actually. Can't even see my line work in it. Just not ideal either. I don't want it to be a big black blob. I want it to kind of retain a bit of detail in there. Try Da Vinci Burnt Sienna Deep. I would. I don't... Is there any store? I would have to check if Wallach's or oh, what's the other one? Below Ground? What's its name? It's in Ontario as well. I'd have to check if they have Da Vinci. I know that Curry's used to have Da Vinci paints, but they cleared them out some time ago. I don't think Jackson's has them. And I'm not in the US, so I can't really order from Da Vinci's website without fearing to be tagged at customs and paying an arm and a leg in fees. Above ground. Below ground. Almost had it. I'm so sorry, Above Ground. You're a great store. What the... What? That's so dumb. Yeah, color reflection on surfaces it's kind of the next level. It's really hard to do with watercolor because it's not opaque, so you have to really plan for it from the beginning. I think color reflections are perhaps easier to manage if you use something that is more opaque like gouache, because you can always come back and try to add them in. They won't be as bright as if you had, you know, drawn the lightest color of the reflection first. But yeah, it's kind of it's more of a challenge with watercolor, but it's also very important. James Gurney is really good at this stuff. Patricia tells me that Above Ground carries Da Vinci. Awesome. I'll definitely check out the Burnt Sienna Deep. I hope it's PBR 7. The color mix I like the most is with the Magello colors. And I think it's by using their ultramarine and their burnt umber. It is so pretty, it is so moody. It's the perfect, like, stormy sky. I really, really love it. You've seen me use it a couple of times. No, that's not, that's indigo. I'm so used to my ultramarine blue being a hole that I get confused now which pan it is. It's no longer a hole, you filled it up. Oh, you order from Da Vinci directly, never have had to pay duty. Uh-huh. Is it real manganese blue? Or is it fake manganese blue? It's probably fake manganese blue. No one has real manganese anymore. I don't miss... I kind of wish I had stocked up on real manganese blue instead of real quinacridone gold, because I don't really use real quinacridone or fake quinacridone all that much. But if I had manganese blue, I would put it everywhere. All the skies would be base manganese blue. With perhaps some other color mixed in to have a bit of variety, but oh, it's one of my favorite colors. It's the perfect teal shade, and it has gorgeous granulation. So what else do you need? What else does anyone need? Oh. Yeah, I have one pan of Dan's manganese blue and I treasure it so much. I think I might have... Do I have someone else's manganese? I don't think so. I don't think Ame made one. But yeah, that pan I have from Dan's is like precious. I don't want to use it too often because I'm like, this is it. I mean, once it's done, once it's all gone, it's all gone. I don't have any more. No one has any more. Oh, it's such a pretty color. I mean, it's a real bummer that it's super toxic. It's no longer produced, but... Can you fake... Well, some of the manganese blue hue are not that bad. Not that bad. They're not the same, but they're not too bad. But yeah, I could possibly try making it with cobalt teal and a bit of tallow blue in it. That might be close. Oh, it's PB33 and PB15. I wonder if I had a bunch of manganese blue, not a bunch of paint from Da Vinci at some point. But I have too much paint, so I think I sold them in an attempt to clear out some space. I think it's PB33. Oh, it is so unique. I'm so bummed out. It's a silly thing to be bummed out, but they kind of pull this one on us quite often, don't they? Like, they change paper, they change paints, and I mean, yeah, sure, we can adjust. We don't have any choice anyway, but it's kind of hard to... Yeah, I know that that's something Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter, says a lot, but she sort of stores supplies at the store, meaning that she doesn't buy anything, or she doesn't buy like 1 billion of a thing she likes. But it's kind of difficult to deal with that when you never quite know if something is going to be there for the long run. Like, if I end up needing this color, say, in a year, is it still going to be there? And that's what is kind of scary about this stuff. And yeah, sure, we can use different colors, we can use hues, but the thing is, as an artist, who's trying to be a professional artist, sometimes you develop methods of working in a way to to work more efficiently, and so that the time you invest in a painting is more worthwhile. Like you don't spend too much time on stuff that could take a lot less time. But when everything changes on you, it's kind of hard to develop a reliable method. That's why I try really hard not to fall in love with certain colors, but I gotta say manganese blue is difficult. It is so pretty. Oh. I hope you guys can't hear my stomach grumbling. That would be embarrassing. I'm really not picky on colors, but I will be picky about the way ultramarine blue behaves, and burnt sienna. I've never seen an ultramarine blue be something else than ultramarine blue pigment, so that's why I'm not bothered with that. I really hope it doesn't become a thing at some point, because that will just drive me up the wall. But yeah, burnt sienna is a more problematic thingy, which I don't know why, because burnt sienna pigment is really easy to find and not expensive one bit. So I'm like, why do they bother making it another pigment than burnt sienna? I don't get it. I think they do it just to spite us. Oh, that's awesome, Joy. Yeah, Dan does some manganese blue, but it sells out super duper quickly, and I mean, he doesn't have an endless resource of it. Like he has a limited stash of the pigment. Da Vinci burnt sienna is PBR7, not burnt sienna deep. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll check it out. I mean, I never buy paint without checking. Well, I don't check every single pigment, but I often end up checking what is in the burnt sienna of anything I buy, because yeah, that's something I want to know if I'm gonna be annoyed at the color I'm gonna get, or if I'm gonna be fine. Oh, nope. I thought that was Scout waking up, but I think that's just the neighbor walking. I looked it up, and White Nights, Burnt Umber, Ron Sienna, and Burnt Sienna are all PBR7. Yeah, that's something I noticed too. I think Renaissance has it in order as well. That's always exciting. I don't know, it's a personal taste, I guess. He has some in the shop right now. Oh my god, you guys are gonna all go buy it. But I mean, please do. Dan is awesome. But wow, that manganese blue is... like, I don't know, like, should I stock up and buy more, or should I try and work towards detaching myself from it? Like, should I grieve for its loss, because it's definitely not gonna be there for much longer, and try to get used to something else? Okay, let's hope I don't crash anything. I'm gonna try something. I'm almost done, so yeah. But I want to re-wet some of this white gouache and see if I can paint little hollows around the lights before I add some colors on them. You guys are telling me to buy it. I will definitely go check it out after this live stream. I hope shipping to Canada is not too bad. That's always like the heartbreaker thing. Like sometimes I see my favorite artists, they release like an art book or something, and I'm always like, yay, yay! And I put in my cart, and I always, the moment of suspense and dread is whenever I hit checkout and enter my address and now shipping options. Like I've seen books, like books from artists I like that are like $15, but the shipping is like $25, and I'm like, well, no, I cannot like take up the expense of something like that. This is not in my budget. Stock up a bit and use it like it's pure gold. That's definitely what would happen. It is like, I don't care for gold itself. I don't think you've ever seen me wear jewelry anyway, so like definitely not something that is in my mind a lot, but dude, manganese blue is my gold. It's such a pretty color. Let's see if I can paint a couple of stripes on this cat just for fun. You know how some spotted cats have tabby in only their spots, which I think is pretty cute. Well, it's a bit like Peko, isn't it? She only has tabby markings in her orange fur. Let's have this guy be a mackerel tabby. I kind of like that it's called mackerel. I think mackerel is cute fish. It's a cute fish. It's a fish, so we gotta keep that in mind, but it's stripy and it's delicious, sadly. Don't think that's gonna be a really impressive light effect, but it's a good learning experience. And I don't think I've painted Christmas lights often enough to know what I'm doing, so let's just try stuff up and have fun with it. Oh, really? Duly noted, Pico. Duly noted. Yeah, I'm glad you think so too, Lise. Mackerels are pretty. I always could feel kind of bummed that they're so tasty. Though, to be honest, I struggle a bit with cooked fish. I already am not fond of lean fish. Like, I like fatty fish most, and even then, like, cooked salmon is about as far as I go. I don't really like cooked tuna. I've tried cooking mackerel myself once and wasn't really happy with the result. So it's either smoked mackerel, which is kind of available sometimes around here, or raw fish or smoked fish. And the occasional cooked salmon fillet. I'm really not big on it at all. Charlie, that's gonna be great to have an art desk. Make sure you have storage enough around so that it doesn't become a mess like like other people's art desk. I wonder who. So I'm just gonna mix a bit of light purple to paint some quick shadows, just quickly. I mean, you see that I didn't paint any kind of background, so sometimes having just a bit of a shadow under things help to sit them down in space, even if the space is really suggested more than really there, you know. It makes like things are less floaty. And Art Mountain, that's it. buy the manganese blue. Feed the pigment nerd inside. Oh man. What's the colors that you guys think that if it was to stop being produced, you would panic? What's your favorite color, I guess? And yeah, it's definitely an art mountain with a valley in here. Some people say enabling. I would say we are supportive. Supportive of our artistic needs. Like I said earlier, like to be excited to use paints it's a really great feeling. It's kind of, I guess the whole point, it's making something happen. And if you can be excited about the tools you use to make it happen, that makes it even more enjoyable. In my opinion, anyway. I wouldn't panic, but I sure would fret to lose Indentron Blue or Quinn Rose. Ooh, that's a good one. I think I would fret if PV42 became out of production or unavailable too. It's a lot like certain variants of PV19. It's this one here, it's this magenta. But since it's one color for this specific pigment, like whenever I see something that is PV42, I know it's going to be this exact color. Whereas when you see something that is PV19, I mean, there are really violet bluish colors that are also PV19, so it's kind of a less precise pigment. Hey, thank you so much for being here, Carolyn. I hope you have a great weekend. Lee says that she doesn't have any editing, at least not yet. Lana says indigo and Quinn Gold, even the nice hues, I just need them. Those are nice together though. Indigo and Quinn Gold, that's a really nice pairing of color. Amisha says PV19 or ultramarine. That would be so weird to run out of ultramarine, because that would be kind of like a redoing of the past, back when ultramarine was made from lapis lazuli, and that was like super expensive and really difficult to process into paint and would cost an arm and a leg. And then they came up with what I figured is the ultramarine blue pigment, which is somewhat synthetic lapis lazuli. So imagine if that were to go missing. That would be so weird. Oh, that's why I said that think about ways to store things. Like if you get shelves to store things, get bins to put on the shelf. So at least it's much easier to have like a dedicated place where you can dump stuff. Like if you have a bin that's for paint, well, instead of dumping the paint necessarily everywhere, sometimes you can just take the paint and dump it in the bin for paint. So that's kind of halfway between being very, very organized and being very, very messy. Like you still dump stuff, but you've allocated certain spaces for certain things. So that's kind of an easier way to manage messy situations. I mean, it's not, doesn't work all the time. Sometimes it gets so messy that you have to take some time to reorder everything. But at least having specific places for stuff. Sometimes I'm like, I'm about to dump something in a random space, and I'm like, take 2 seconds and put it in the bin for it. I'm like, okay, fine, good. Deal with myself. I will put it in the bin. Not the trash bin, but the sorting bin. Yeah, lapis lazuli is a beautiful stone. It's like the the stone that, well, I'm pretty sure there are others, but it's the first stone that comes to mind in my head that figured out its complementary color on its own. Because you often find lapis lazuli with streaks of pyrite in it. And I think it's pyrite. I don't think it's gold. Haha. But it's like this goldish color. So you have this really nice warm blue, like this deep reddish blue, and it has these flecks of gold in it. So it's like a work of art in itself. You don't have anything to do. The best you can do is maybe polish it so it really shows its color and the way it's made, but on itself it's already beautiful. So I guess that's it for... Oh, I forgot something. It's a detail, but we should add a bit of shadow under this here. Yeah. I wish I had more storage space. It's really messy because I don't have enough space to sort everything, but I think if I had enough space to sort everything, it would be really, really organized.
Hey, Scott! Salut! Tu viens de te dire bonjour aux gens? Viens tout petit.
Là, on va essayer de faire ça. Whoop, whoop, whoop. C'est bon? C'est bon? Explore. So that's my other cat. For those who had never seen her before. She just woke up. She was napping. It's not dry enough.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais, poulette? Qu'est-ce que tu fais, bébé chat? Veux-tu te coucher?
Oh, c'est cute. Tu te coucher. Ta face. And Peko is like, but I'm cute too. Pay attention to me. There you go. You wanted friends. You were all alone in the bedroom and you woke up and you didn't have any friends. So you came looking for friends. And you were like, oh, there you all are. My friends. Can we eat now? Is it lunchtime? It's actually... You have quite a good inner clock, Scout. It's kibble time, for sure. Hey, baby. I still call them babies because they will forever be my babies. Qu'est-ce que t'en penses? Qu'est-ce que c'est ça? Qu'est-ce que c'est ça? Yeah, it's kibble time. Yeah, she's a sweetie. She's becoming really, really mellow with age. She's super temperamental, but she's really, like, mellowing out. She still has a temper, but she's like a really big softie at times now. Like, she wants some rubbins, and she wants some pittance, and she wants some friends, and she's gonna tear her ear off. Tu t'es arraché l'oreille? Oh, tu t'es fait un bobo. You're all scabby again. Do you want to show your plucked eyebrows to the folks on camera? Let's see if I can show your plucked eyebrows. Show your face. Can you guys see the plucked eyebrows? Like over here, it's all plucked. Mom, stop! Stop picking at my face! Oh, yeah, that's about it, Amisha. It's really difficult. I guess that's why my mom still calls me her baby sometime. And I'm like, Mom, I'm old now. It's weird. Well, I mean, I can do it with the cats because I know they won't react to it much. You can call them anything. I think cats react mostly to the tone of voice. So sometimes I say mean things to them, but in a happy, cheerful tone, just because I can. If it was a human, I wouldn't do that. But they don't speak human, they speak cats. So I can say, you're a silly butt. And she's like, meh. What's up? Did you see something outside? Mom, Wanna eat? Oh, you have a scab on your face. What am I gonna do with you? What am I gonna do with you? Did you pluck all this too? Poor baby. Oh, Pico is like, I'm done. So I guess we should follow what Pico does, right? Are we done? What do you think? Mom, I don't get it. I don't speak human. I know you don't, but you are so cute. Yeah, I will cut this here. So thank you so much everyone for being here today. I apologize for starting up late. I fell asleep with this girl here. So yeah. And I will probably have a live stream next Saturday if anything goes well. Oh yeah, it's Kibble's time. So thank you so much everyone for being here. If you want to keep chatting with us during the week, look up the Discord server. It's in the description below. A love stream. Well, it's a cat love stream. Does that count? And yeah, if you want to join up on Discord and keep chatting with us, that would be pretty cool. No obligation, but it's free and it's fun to use, so feel free to do so. And have a great weekend and take care and try to survive this Thanksgiving weekend. Bye!